It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.
Welcome to Sober University, your next step to successful recovery, with Cheryl Adler, who says if you are going to crave anything, crave living life to the fullest. Maximize all you have and squander nothing. This program provides information to help you get your physical, mental, and spiritual house in order. And now, the host of Sober University, Cheryl Adler.
Happy New Year, Rockland World Radio listeners. We're back with new shows for 2012. Tonight, we present New Year, New You, and we're focusing on sobriety from the viewpoint of fitness. Hope you're feeling optimistic and motivated, and join us, please, in our chat room, which you can find on our website, rocklandworldradio.com, or please give us a call. We would love callers to ask us questions at 845-353-2910. Tonight's guest is my dear friend, Bruce Woolley. Hello, Bruce. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Bruce Woolley is the owner and founder of the Diplomat Health and Swim Club. It's located on Route 9W in Piermont, New York. And Bruce can be reached right now at our website in our chat room. And for more information about the Diplomat Health and Swim Club, you can reach Bruce at the club at 845-359-2401 or at his website, which is diplomathealth.com. Bruce, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Cheryl. Great to be here.
It's wonderful to have you here. Let's begin by having you share some of your own background about yourself, how you got into the fitness business, and how you became the owner and founder of the Diplomat.
Well, like most people's stories, it's been a journey. Started out as an athlete, running for Clarkstown High School in the late 1960s, and I was captain of the team my sophomore year, and the coach asked for some help designing the workout. So I did a lot of reading and, kind of partnered with the coach in that. Also had a neighbor from across the street that had, his name was Bob Keenan. He was a NIAC teacher, and he opened up his house, and he had a lot of weights in the house for people in the neighborhood, so I learned about that from him. And lifeguarded in the summertime, and also worked for my college. I ran the gym when the phys ed department went home, so I was always heading in this direction, it seems.
That's wonderful. So It was a progression of events.
An absolute progression, one that I thought that was going to be leading towards sports psychology, but after I finished my bachelor's degree, I kind of ran out of gas on the academic front, and was at that point, took a job working at Diplomat, and rather quickly turned that into a business opportunity, and that was back in 1975.
So back in 1975, you started to provide services for other people in health and fitness.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And so that became, I believe, if I get this right, you started out more as a swim club.
Yeah. Well, matter of fact, we were only, when I started the business, we were only getting between 5 and 7 people a day in the club. So it was an indoor swimming pool that was just laying there.
Tiny little club.
Yeah, I could put a sign on the door, going fishing. I don't think anyone would have really missed me, but through taking good care of people, it grew. And then it grew some more, and it grew some more. But it started as an indoor swim club with 2 saunas and a few broken bicycles and a 110-pound weight set in the weight room. And so it began as an indoor swim club, and through a lot of different incarnations, it's metamorphosized through that.
So it seems that people were really demanding. It was providing for the needs of your clientele, that they might have loved swimming, as I love swimming, but it developed into much more than that.
Yeah, they wanted to do more, so we found more things for them to do, and now it's a full-service health and swim club. Has pretty much anything anyone would want to do exercise-wise.
which we're going to discuss as the show
Sure.
progresses. And I think we really want to emphasize, because our show is so much premised on having a lifestyle of sobriety, how important fitness fits into
Absolutely.
a sober life.
Yes.
Could you speak a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, all sorts of biochemical changes happen in the brain when one exercises. It makes one smarter, and it provides all sorts of feel-good, natural ways to feel good, and to it's not just the heart; it's also the mind, and makes a big difference when one exercises. You feel good right from the first day you start moving more.
Right. So people can feel a whole variety of things. I think we could say that some individuals may feel completely invigorated. Other people may feel relaxed and calm. Other people obviously will come out and say, I feel better. And I think it's important to take note that most of all, the effects really last throughout a day.
Absolutely. It's not something that you exercise and then it's over. The physiological benefits remain with one, and the emotional benefits, and from what my members tell me, and I have experienced myself, spiritual changes too.
Can you say a little bit about the spiritual changes?
Yeah, I mean they get more in touch with themselves, and yeah, it's a very holistic experience for a lot of my members.
I would have to jump in and say, as a swimmer, which often feels like a flying fish or a mermaid, and sometimes my friends tease me and say, oh, you're a mermaid, that whole feeling of being submerged really allows me, at least, to so much relax and have such a flow of thought. And very often I do find myself in a state of prayer when I swim. So it is something that truly does change you on so many levels, including your spiritual level.
Yeah.
It's good for the soul.
It's absolutely great for the soul, and I remember my first sensations. One of the things that really attracted me to swimming and aquatics and ultimately lifeguarding was the sensation of actually flying. I mean, I couldn't fly on land, and as we know, flying on the ground is wrong, but I could fly in that pool, and it's a wonderful sensation. And my members use the pool in a lot of different ways, but not everyone is swimming in the pool. I mean, sometimes people are stretching or flying, somersaulting.
Yes, we do all sorts of things in the pool.
Oh, yeah.
I want to acknowledge that there was a time in my life that I came to your wonderful pool to rehab myself after breast cancer. And my fantasy to this day is to be an aerialist in Cirque du Soleil, which remains a fantastic fantasy.
Yeah.
But I somehow can translate that into being a very happy swimmer.
Yeah, well, there's a freedom that comes from being in the water, and it's also there's a cocooning effect, in the water where it's a very warm, embracing feeling being in the water.
Absolutely. So why don't we also talk about your fantastic slogan that the diplomat is for everybody? What does everybody mean?
Everybody is everybody. People come to us for a lot of different needs. Some people are there for, post-physical therapy, rehabilitation. Some people are there to make, they've been given marching orders, perhaps by their doctor, to make some changes.
In terms of their
health.
their heart health,
Yeah. Yep.
or rehabbing their knees.
Right, bone density issues. They
Bone
need to do some exercising. Sometimes people, have an event coming up, a reunion they just want to, look better for. There's really a host of reasons why people start to exercise, and we're there to get them going on the right foot and to encourage them.
Well, the encouragement is very important because not every facility takes the time to encourage people. So could you share with us how your trainers help members and in what way they do so?
Sure, and that also runs the gamut. I mean, we have a lot of people who want to be left alone. I call them the Greta Garbos of exercise. They just, and we're good at leaving people alone, but frequently, usually people want some assistance, and it usually starts off with getting a little background of where they are, what they've been doing,
so
where do they want to go. We do an evaluation.
Uh-huh.
We also take into account any sort of medical considerations. You don't need a doctor's note to start swimming, but when you find that someone has some significant, I had a member for years, his name was Ralph, and he's gone to the big health club in the sky now, but Ralph came into the club, and I asked him, do you have any considerations, medical considerations, Ralph? And he goes, I have the heart of a 29-year-old, and he was in his early 60s, and I said, well, I'm sure you take good care of yourself, Ralph. He goes, no, I have the heart of a 29-year-old. He was a heart transplant recipient.
Wow.
And he was a member for many years, and he was very, very active in organ transplant circles, and and he had the heart of a 29-year-old. He's a special guy.
I can only imagine his gratitude.
Yeah.
And
mine to him for being there and
absolutely.
choosing my place.
So you also derive benefit in some ways by all the many people you meet who come through the doors of the Diplomat year after year after year.
Yeah, it's I had a fire at my club back in 1993, and it was I knew how much I appreciated my members, but when that sort of thing is just pulled from you, over the course of a few hours, and it took about 14 months to get the club open fully, and
that's a huge loss.
It was a huge loss. It was a huge loss for my members, and it was for me. But we got back on track and got the club reopened. And if you make it through something like that, you can make it through anything. But I never really realized how much the emotional connection is seeing all these people who are my friends every day. I knew it, but I hadn't lived what it was like being without them, and it was hard on many levels.
Everybody missed each other.
We all missed each other, and my members that were at other places, I would get calls from managers at other facilities saying, "When are you gonna get open? Because we want your people to get back to you." And because
that's right.
Yeah, and so we all did.
And we all get to celebrate with you at your holiday party.
Yeah.
Which is a very
coming
special
up next
event.
Wednesday. Yeah, we throw a party for all of our members. We used to do it in December, but we found it was just a little too tight schedule-wise for most people. So we moved it to January, and more people are able to attend it. And we keep the club open at the same time for people for the Garbos that don't want to attend the party. But it's a lot of fun.
Most of us want to come to the party and
I
see one another.
I will be at the party.
We say, I can hardly recognize you. You're in clothes.
Yeah, you
right?
look so different with your clothes on.
You look so different with your clothes on. So another question I'd like to ask you is, obviously there are people who clearly want the experience of joining a gym and having a membership and taking it seriously and automatically renewing their membership because it's as natural to them as brushing their teeth.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have people who start out with a New Year's resolution, which we talked about last week on our show, saying, this year I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to join a gym. I'm going to make sure I have cardio, and I'm going to lift weights, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. How do you fine-tune a person who comes in so completely enthusiastic and joins your club, and then maybe 3 or 4 weeks later or 3 or 4 months later, they just kind of disappear?
Yeah, that's a bad thing because in the old days, many clubs built their model on people not coming to the club, whereas
they counted on that.
Yeah, they count on that. Whereas we've always, our new members and our older members are all paying the same fee. So we need to have them using it because if they don't use the club, they don't continue with it. So, they'll get a reminder, a gentle reminder call from us, and it's really about behavioral modification. It takes about 20 workouts over a 8 to 12 week period to really establish this. But some people need to have the reins pulled back a little bit. Sometimes sometimes a little over enthusiasm at the start. We love enthusiasm, but we
Right.
don't want them burning out. So we want to give them a chance to establish the habit and make the workouts very doable, so they can have success with what they're doing, and that they're comfortable with something that might be exercising they might not have done since they were forced to do it back in high school gyms. And so now it's, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, they're exercising for the first time. And so some people need to have the reins pulled back. Some people need a little more of another sort of encouragement.
A little nudging.
A little nudging.
Push past the comfort zone.
Right. And most of our members, we do some extensive training at the start of the membership, for those that don't know what they're doing. But some people choose to work with a personal trainer. I'd say probably about 90% of our members are working out on their own, and probably about 10% or so work out with a trainer. And there's a lot to be gained from working individually with a private coach. I mean, it's a wonderful thing, but it doesn't fit everyone's budget and or their interests.
Right.
But it is available to people too.
Sometimes it's a good idea to have the personal trainer just to get yourself going.
Absolutely.
And educate yourself as to what movements are the best for you.
Right.
And what movements to avoid.
Yeah, and that's why we start all members with, unless they say leave me alone, of course.
The Greta Garbos.
Yeah, the Garbos.
Yeah.
We start them with 3 sessions. So by the third time I'm working with someone, I'm standing there slightly like a mummy. I'm there as a safety net to see what they're doing, to make sure they're doing it correctly, because you want the workout to be effective, but you also want to be safe at the same time, and you never ever sacrifice results for and take a chance of someone getting hurt.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
we avoid any kind of injuries.
Yeah, because especially as people age, it takes longer to come back from an injury. So injuries happen. There's a lot of reasons for injury. Sometimes it's choosing the wrong kind of exercise.
Right.
Not everyone should be running. As a matter of fact, I'm a runner, always have been, but I'm hard-pressed to defend that as being an ideal exercise. And I'm doing more and more of my running in the deep end of the pool with an aqua jogger belt on, because I can turn a high-intensity activity into one that's not just low impact, but non-impact.
And you can still derive benefit from it.
Your body neurologically doesn't realize it's not running, and physiologically it doesn't realize it's not running. It doesn't do anything for bone density, but you can get fabulous workout. And you can work on consecutive days should you wish to, in ways that you can't do on land, where you need to have some time down.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I would really like to address for Sober University's listeners the couch potatoes who have trouble getting off their couch. Bruce, how do we motivate a couch potato to see that there's something out there that could really make their life better than sitting on the couch?
By telling them and letting them experience how good they can feel just after a first workout. The physiological benefits take a little longer, but from the very first workout, if it's done correctly, they will feel absolutely great. One of the things that we start people with is some guest visits as guests of the club, so they can experience it and
they can check it out.
They can check it out, and not just talk to a staff person, but talk to the other members and find out how other people's journeys have gone. But that's one way of doing it. The other thing that we do at the club is, any time in the first month of the membership, if it hasn't worked out for the person, we just give them their money back in full and say.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah, well, because we want to make it easier for people to get started, because the couch potatoes usually have become that way because they didn't feel these good benefits.
Exactly.
So we're there for them.
I have to say that I have observed some remarkable and brave people at the Diplomat who could have just been couch potatoes but chose to break through. And obviously we're not going to mention specific individuals, but I would just like to acknowledge that we have seen very obese people who could have just stayed on the couch, who braved coming out to the Diplomat and got loads and loads of encouragement for getting in the water.
Oh, yeah?
And even somebody who had a very severe handicap and braved getting into the water.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of support. It's not just staff support. It really is, it's a community, and there's a lot of member support for each other. But it's a hard thing for a lot of people. I think the fact that we started as an indoor swim club has wound up with us being a kinder, softer, gentler kind of club, and people that normally would never see themselves in a health club setting as maybe portrayed in on TV shows or movies or whatever. They find our place pretty warm and welcoming.
Without a doubt, it is very, very warm and welcoming, and very, very easygoing, and so very, very friendly.
Well, thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you. Please share with our audience the range of activities that are available, so that people who are listening who say, no, I can't do that. Nah, that's not really for me. I really want you to open up your minds, listeners, and think about how very possible this is for you. What are the range of activities that you offer?
Yeah, we have a lot of different. The club is it's a fairly nice sized club. It's about 7,000 square feet for those people that are square footage oriented, but it's much more of a boutique kind of club, whereas the trend has become to build them bigger and larger with all the charm of a Costco or a Home Depot.
Right.
And where
a
ours
real
is
warehouse.
ours is it's a little it's friendly sized. But
it's down home.
It is down home.
It's down home.
Yeah. But there's a lot of what I would call cardio fitness options. So that would be treadmills and different kinds of exercise bikes and elliptical trainers and Nordic tracks and just a host of different ways of people to that they can exercise and raise their heart rate and get some cardiorespiratory response. Then of course the swimming pool, which is very much of our centerpiece, and you find fewer and fewer clubs building them, because in that space where the pool and the whirlpool is, you probably could fit 100 exercise machines. But our pool is where we started and what we're very much about. Although I'd say 1/3 of our members only swim, 1/3 of our members never swim, and 1/3 do some combination thereof. Yeah, mix thereof. We have a group exercise room. It's kind of a multi-purpose area where we do group exercise classes and lots of different kinds of classes. Yoga, Pilates, body pump, some step sculpt classes, just a lot of different options. Low impact group exercise, and that's a lot of fun. The body pump classes in particular, we just never realized that there was going to be so many men taking the class, because the men typically had an aversion to the group exercise. I think the first time one of the, as we used to call them, aerobics teachers back in the day went, woo! And I think the guys all went running out the back of the room. So, but there, I'd say about 50-50 men and women in the body pump classes. And then we have a weight training area with a full line of Cybex and free weights, and another overflow room for when there's a group exercise class in session, so there's floor space that people can still stretch, and then locker, showers, saunas. I think I did mention the whirlpool before. That's one of my favorites. I
mentioned the whirlpool.
Yeah, it's a nice way to relax at the end of a workout. I treat it as my reward for a workout done.
It's a very soothing place to be, absolutely. So I also would like to mention, as we only have a few minutes left of our show, it goes so quickly. It's
my goodness,
unbelievable.
It did. Yes.
I don't really like when people say they're addicted to exercise, because the word addiction implies something so very negative. It's true that when you find an activity you truly enjoy doing, you get the results that you're seeking. So you want to keep repeating that, and that might include weight loss, body sculpting, toning. Most important, it's about feeling good and being healthy.
I think that's number one. Where the business or end of it at one time was about fitness, now it's much more about wellness and health and feeling good.
And I think that's a great segue to ask you, about your personal philosophy and how it really differs from what the media tells people.
Yeah, well, the media puts out perfect bodies, and most of us come in real-world shapes and sizes.
Don't we?
And that's who we work with real people, with, the picture perfect.
We're not airbrushed.
No, we're not airbrushed. We're very real, and we keep it real.
We keep it real. So your philosophical difference is avoid the steroids and avoid the knife? Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Unless the doctor says you need them.
Yes.
And we have had members that have had surgery for weight control issues. Very
Sure.
successful situations. But on the whole, anytime you can do something naturally and without medication or without surgical intervention, you're better off, and that's the way to start.
Right, so we're differentiating. We're not talking about doing those things for vanity. We're talking about this is a very health-oriented and a very sober activity.
Absolutely.
And quite a sober investment in your life.
Most certainly.
Absolutely. So, are there any other thoughts that you would like to share as we close the program this evening?
Well, I'm going to remember all of them as soon as we go off the air, but I want to talk about your book, Cheryl, because you wrote a fine book, and it's about recovery, but it really is so much more. I took a look at my thoughts when I first read it, and it's a marvelous book filled with depth and wisdom, and a host of great advice for anyone trying to live a healthier life, whether physically, emotionally, or spiritually. So it really. I want to say it transcends what you set out to do, but it really is a fabulous book, and one that I'm rereading at this point now, too. So thank you for writing it.
I'm very honored that you would say that on the show tonight. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm glad that it has meaning for you.
It does.
Good. So, my listeners, I want to say thank you for tuning in tonight. I want to thank Bruce once again for being my guest this evening. I hope that Bruce has inspired you and motivated you. Please get out your swimsuits and your sneakers and all your gym gear, or get to the store and treat yourself to some new stuff, and give Bruce a call, 845-359-2401, or visit him at diplomathealth.com. So that's all the time we have for now. This is Cheryl Adler, that's me, thanking you for joining us this evening. And don't forget, if you want to reach me, you can reach me on my office number, 845-358-4652, my personal website, soberuniversity.com, and rocklandworldradio.com. Please join me next week when I have a very interesting guest, Brian Berkowitz, attorney at law, who's going to discuss driving under the influence, alcohol and drugs, and how the law relates to that. Remember, if you're going to crave anything, crave living life to the fullest. Maximize all you have and squander nothing. Thank you and good night.